Hi everybody. A couple weeks ago we worked with R2.js to scrape data from various websites, and we found out some of the benefits and disadvantages of working with a solution that works in browser like R2 does. One of the benefits is that you're in the browser and you can see all the things that you need to see about a given page, while you're trying to extract data from it. So it's kind of like working all in one place, all in one location. But there are disadvantages as well, and one of the disadvantages that we saw was that certain websites don't take too kindly to their data being scraped, and so some websites actually made attempts to block our scraping. And this week we'll be working with Python and with Beautiful Soup, which is a library for Python that facilitates scraping of data. And so we'll get to see how that works in relationship to our prior experience with R2. Let's get started. So here's the Beautiful Soup website, and as mentioned earlier, this is a Python library that we'll be working with this week. I want to caution you though, don't follow any of the instructions necessarily for installation on this website or anywhere else. Instead, I encourage you to navigate over to the Collective Methods GitHub repository and follow the instructions there. We'll be working with Python 3, and so the first thing we'll need to do is download that. Your Mac already comes with an older version of Python, but PCs don't come with it at all. Python versions 2 and 3 are not without controversy. Some people hate Python 3 and some people hate Python 2. And so there are die-hard fanatics that are in favor of using one or the other. There are considerable differences between the two, but there's a lot of things in common as well. Regardless of what version you're using, you want to be mindful of the fact that when you're looking for resources online, you want to always make sure that you're looking at Python 3 examples if you're using Python 3. One of the definite advantages of Python 3 is that it comes pre-configured with pip, which is the tool that you use to manage packages in Python, and that's what we'll be using to install Beautiful Soup. Once the installer is finished downloading, go ahead and run it. Yeah, my hard drive is named Kermit, so sue me. This process shouldn't take more than a couple of minutes, and when it's finished, you'll have Python 3 installed. Now that Python 3 is finished installing, we're ready to use pip to install Beautiful Soup. Come back to the Collective Methods GitHub repository and select the command that's appropriate for your operating system and copy it. And then open up your terminal application on the Mac or the command prompt on Windows. Then just paste the command into the terminal and hit return. If everything is going according to plan so far, Beautiful Soup should be installed. That looks successful. Now I'm going to go back to the Collective Methods GitHub repository and copy the first example code. Then I'm going to open up a text editor and paste my code and save my file as soup-test.py. I'm going to save it into my user folder. At this point, I can go back to the terminal and I can type Python 3 and then the file name. Windows users, keep in mind that the command for you is slightly different. The result looks like this. Yay! If this didn't work for you, the most likely problem is that you've saved your file into the wrong directory and the terminal doesn't know where to find it. That's an easy fix, and there are a number of other easy problems that we can sort out with you if you reach out to us for code support. Let's go back to the code now and see why we're getting this result. So, at the top of the file we're importing Beautiful Soup so that we can use it. Next, we're defining some HTML as a string. And then, we're using Beautiful Soup to parse that HTML string. The final few lines here are just printing out different versions of the data that we're using Beautiful Soup to scrape. Soup.prettify, which should get an award for best method name, outputs nicely formatted HTML. Next, we're getting the title of the HTML document, followed by the first anchor tag, and then finally all of the anchor tags. Printing the dashes just outputs divisions that makes it easier for us to see the data. If we go back to the terminal, we can see here is the pretty version of the HTML, formatted nicely with proper indentations. Here is the title. Here is the first anchor tag. And here are all of the anchor tags as an array, which is referred to as a list in Python. This first example is of limited value because it assumes that your HTML is defined as a variable within your Python code. A more likely scenario is that you're going to want to scrape data from an existing website online, and if you look at some of the other examples, they show you how to do just that. They can also show you how to format the scraped data in more useful ways, for example as a CSV file or a JSON file. This week I'd like to ask you to cook up 3 to 5 different Beautiful Soup recipes and submit them to GitHub. Let me know if you have any questions, and as always, good luck.